Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Our first story is about a nice bonus that our OP got just by reading the policy. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Was told to actually read the policy. So I did. I work for an office and we have an 8-week busy season with mandatory overtime, 12 to 14 hours a day. During this time, the company agrees to reimburse us for dinner up to $13 a meal. We just have to submit a claim with our receipts at the end of the busy season. Food options around my work aren't great, so I usually brought my dinner from home, but sometimes I was too tired to cook after a long day, so out of the 8 weeks, I purchased maybe 10 meals. 3 of those meals I spent $13.50, going 50 cents over the limit. This resulted in a whopping $1.50 overage, which my manager said was no big deal and that I could include it on my expense claim. He signed off on it and everything. A few days after I submitted my report, head office emailed me saying they rejected my expense claim and that I could resubmit it after I removed the $1.50 overage. I wrote back saying my manager was fine with the $1.50 overage and even signed off on it, and they responded by telling me that they do not allow overages under any circumstances, that the $1.50 must be removed or they wouldn't approve any of my meal expenses. They ended their email with the advice that I should actually read the company policy next time. Fine, they were right and I was wrong. So I decided I'd read the policy very thoroughly before redoing my expense claim. Yes, the policy clearly stated a $13 maximum on purchased meals. Oh, and what's this? The policy also allows a $10 per diem for meals you bring from home. I very happily removed the $1.50 overage and added an additional $300 for the 30 meals I brought from home. I should read the company policy more often. I hope you informed your coworkers of that policy. I also really hope that you thank the head office for snarkily telling you to read the policy. And our second story. Boss tried to be slick changing my employment. Ended up having to pay me more than what he thought. Now, to give some background for the story, I was working as a legal assistant at a small law firm, but started off as the receptionist. This was a job I could get straight out of college while I give myself some time to adjust to life and getting ready to apply to graduate/law school. He fired a coworker over her asking for a higher raise and immediately told me I was going to take over. The law firm has 8 employees and has a high turnover rate, and I didn't realize until a couple of months ago. My boss is a stereotypical boomer and gloats about how he was in the army, how he's a ladies' man, even though his wife is literally our office manager, and doesn't train his employees even though he forces his employees to sign a contract saying they'll have to pay $2,500 if they don't complete 1 year. Over the past months, he's tried to say my work is terrible, even though I used all of his templates and had to correct him with information I received from the court on how to do these exact family pleadings, and have closed cases that have been with us for years in the span of 1 to 3 months. Blames me for being rude to clients, even though the clients told him it was not me and was another coworker who he showed favoritism to, and consistently asks me if I found the right man, would I be with that man after he met my girlfriend at the firm's annual holiday party. There's a lot more, but too much to write. Overall, he hated anything about me, and my coworkers would often have to vouch for me because he would take out his anger on me. Because of this, I made sure to always send emails of our conversations and clarify things in order to keep track of all the shortcomings and issues. I even had a meeting with my office manager and documented the fact that I wasn't trained by sending a follow-up email and screenshotting an email where they made me train a new person 1 week after I started. Someone please tell me if this looks like adequate training. 3 weeks ago, he changed my contract to being a non-essential employee and told my coworker, before she quit, that he lessened my hours because of my poor work, and anything I did could be sent by mail or email. He often rushes through his work and leaves a lot of loopholes in his contract, so cue malicious compliance. The contract said that I would be a non-essential employee, and by the way he wrote it, he capped phone calls at half an hour. But I would get paid $15 per call, $45 for each family packet I did, and $15 per email correspondence. So I did a couple of family pleading packets, but kept my coworkers in the loop, and they told my boss that they were busy with other things and asked if I could make the calls. They know I'm the only one in my household working and felt the contract was terrible. I also asked them how they would read the contract, and they interpreted it in the same way I had. Since I was deemed non-essential and he could not be bothered to draft a letter letting me go into the office, I had to send various emails for him to print. When he would ask for me to place items on his desk, I referenced my contract stating I was a non-essential employee and could risk a fine/jail time. I ended up making so many calls, always tried to make them as long as possible by asking clients how are they and hearing them complain about what's going on and how difficult it'll be for them to make payments at this time, that when I sent my hours to my office manager, she CC'd my boss and asked to verify hours and explain. I explained and broke it down with my contract. My boss couldn't be bothered to go back to his email and asked me to forward the contract. At that point, it took them forever to respond, and I was eagerly awaiting their response. He attempts to spin it back and change the wording of my contract to say each call was only 75 cents and each correspondence was $1.50. This would essentially make my paycheck less than $100, even though I had originally been paid $15 an hour and had worked 50-plus hours in the past 2 weeks. At that point, I send in my resignation and screenshots of all the times I asked how do they want the timesheet sent along with the governor's stay-at-home order for non-essential employees. He attempted to change the story to say that I was an essential employee and finally offered to give me a letter, but at that point I'd already sent my resignation. After reading my email referencing the contract, lack of training, and mentioning the conversation with his wife, he conceded, made an agreement that I was leaving on good terms, and is giving me the wages I deserve. Moral of the story, document everything and follow up. I have a second-round interview, so please wish me luck. Always pays to keep records of everything, especially when something seems fishy or when your boss is an inconsiderate, shady jerk. And our last story, ruined a crap housemate's life. So I moved into a 4-bedroom uni house. I knew 2 of my housemates, let's call them Abby and Ben. Due to unfortunate circumstances, our previously planned housemate didn't live with us, so we found a new one, Chloe. Chloe is a horrible housemate. This becomes apparent when they never paid any bills or rent on time, smoke like a chimney inside against our agreement, leaves home for a few days, leaving a big pile of washing up for us to do, including our pots and pans, scream gaming on their laptop all the way till 5 a.m., walls are thin, just to name a few things. Basically, they suck. So it gets till about 4 months in. We cannot stand Chloe, so have a house meeting. Basically, we sit there and try to explain how we would prefer they don't scream at their laptop. I assume gaming until 5 a.m. every night as all of us get up early. Everything we bring up, Chloe denied it. We have each lent Chloe a month's rent and bills too, and Chloe hasn't paid us any of it back. Over $1,000 between us. Chloe denied it, saying, I don't know you. This point, me, Abby, and Ben are all pretty PO'd. Then a few weeks later was a Saturday night, and being students, Abby and Ben and me invited friends around for pre-drinks. We asked Chloe first. They said they would be out, so that's fine. Turns out they finished work early, so they came home and were shocked to find people there. Went up to their room. They kept coming down and turning the music down. It wasn't even loud in the first place. Chloe got so angry and threw my speaker out the window. I didn't see Chloe do it, but loads of people told me so. I'd had enough. I went to get my speaker. Chloe came with me to my surprise, and as Chloe left in full visibility of me, keyed my car parked in the driveway. I got up with my speaker and shouted as she walked off. Luckily, we have an automatic light on the side of the house, and a car was driving down my road at the time, and the driver said they had a dash cam and probably caught it out the window to me. I stopped shouting in disbelief and gave him my email address, went about my night enjoying the party. When it was time to leave, a lot of us hadn't finished our alcohol, so left it on the kitchen table and left. When we got back the next day and had sobered up in the morning, we found all the alcohol had been taken, along with the speaker, some headphones, and my laptop. Now I was really PO'd. The revenge. I logged into my housemate's laptop on my email. This guy had pulled through, sent me a small clip of Chloe keying the car along with several close-up stills showing the key and contact. I first confronted Chloe, asking if they knew where my stuff was, while Abby and Ben secretly recorded on their phones. Things got heated, and they looked like they were going to fight me. I'm a big guy, 6'4", and I'm really not scared. I'm basically just pissing Chloe off. She then swung her fists at me a few times, making contact. I didn't fight back. I put my hands and arms over my head and face. Chloe then stomps off, thinking she'd won. Let me remind you, Abby and Ben were recording. I call the police, they show up. I basically say I have good reason to believe Chloe stole my alcohol and other possessions. They got up and knock on Chloe's door. Go away! They can't go in without a search warrant. I file a report about assault, and the things stolen relating the two. The police are very nice and basically tell me how to fill it in. They come back the next day with a warrant for Chloe's arrest for assault and battery. They then search her room and find all the stolen alcohol bottles, my headphones, which were clearly mine as they only paired with my phone, and my laptop and damaged speaker. I sued Chloe and won. I had indisputable evidence along with witnesses for all the events. I got $3,000 for car, speaker, and rent Chloe Otis, and an additional $5,000. Chloe went to prison for resisting arrest, assaulting a police officer, assault, destruction of property, theft, and battery. Chloe still had to pay rent for her room, which we used as a gym. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.